school, we serve 5th and 6th graders, but we have them separate because we don't want them to share knowledge that others have.
Yeah.
We want to keep it contained and hopefully guide them so they don't end up back there. Unfortunately, sometimes where they feel connected with us, where they're like, "Oh, I just don't want to leave." But we try to say, no, you have to live a normal life, have more options at your campus. We're always here. Come when you graduate. That's when you can come, and that's when we want to see you. Before that, hopefully not, but we do what we can. And we have 10 intermediate, and the summit is 5th and 6th, and then we have 7 and 8, and we keep them separate, and then we have high school. And now they added the guidance, which is a temporary placement of 15 to 20 days. But the summit is 60 days, 12 weeks placement. So as you can see, that becomes their school. And that's just how it is. So we try during that time. Right now we're trying to shorten the time. They're doing good, and we try to advocate for them so their campuses will take them back, because they've done good. They get points and they get rewards, and we advocate for them so they can go back. So they're starting to take students back to their campus sooner, and while they're there, we do what we can. I know it's a consequence, because by law they have to have a consequence for the certain behaviors they're doing in campus that are not legal, so they have to end up with us legally. But what we do, we see ourselves as intervention. They're here, it's a consequence, they're here, there's a set of rules, there's structure, but we're gonna turn that and we're gonna see what are your needs and where can we help. So we see the needs. And as parents, some of you were asking about how do I involve parents. I was a parent coordinator in elementary, and that was my goal, getting parents involved. But elementary is easier to get involved. As they get older, it's harder to get parents involved. One of the things, when a parent comes to you and they tell you, this is happening, this, that. When you hear their needs, that's when you connect the resource. And you say, you know what? I don't know how this is going to turn out, but you know how it is now. So it doesn't hurt to try and learn and see what happens. It might get better. But as teenagers grow, that communication, there's this miscommunication because we want, as a parent, we want them to be little and just do what I say. But that's not how it's going to turn out later on. As they become teenagers, they're ready to fly off. But they're not ready. They don't have the wings. So how do I show that I love you and respect to you as a son or daughter, and at the same time help you? Where do we go from there? So I see the needs, I listen to the needs, and that's where it's not just me helping, it's all of us. It's a community. It's a community that takes to help a student try and not give up. One of the things that I told myself, and I tell myself, you're going to be faced with situations that you might think, are they going to learn or they don't learn? They always do this again and they don't want to learn. And I just say, in my head, I might not see the end result of what I'm doing, but I know I'm planting the seed. And that's all I do. And it's up to God to see the end. But I know He has me here for a reason, and I do my best. And if He didn't give up on me, who am I to give up on them?
Wow.
So that's what gets me going, regardless of them listening or not listening and doing what they're doing. And then we also have, in high school students, 60,000 high school students in the district. And that's not counting the ones that dropped out. The ones that drop out because they don't have a father and they have to work. There's many of those too. This is just the ones who are students there. And that's why your work is so important. Because the parents, we are parents. We lived how we our parenting is almost like what we were parent. And you know, sometimes that's not the way. We don't know a different way. So we learn a different way and we go from there. Because I told my parents, if I'm a counselor and I learned, even if I keep on going to parenting classes, I know you can learn something. And you just have to keep on trying and planting that seed of knowledge. We have 89% graduation rate. That is not a lot. In Texas is 90%. Here in Pasadena, we're 89. We're close. However, we don't want anyone to stop. We want them to graduate, and what's going to be your next step? What's going to be your career? What do you want to do? Trying to get that vision, and maybe they don't have an answer now. And you know, you might have an answer now, but that might change. My original major was business, and I ended up teaching, and now a counselor. So it's okay. We just go day by day. Who knows what the future holds? We don't know, but we do the best with what we have now, day by day. Math proficiency is 65% versus 49%, so we're better than the state of Texas. And reading, 40% versus 47% in the state of Texas. Minority enrollment is 95% of student body, and the Hispanics, which is more than Texas, 72 majority Hispanic. Now, I don't see colors. I see hearts. And many times we see behaviors. But you go beyond those behaviors and you look at the heart. Later, a little bit a while ago, Reta was asking me, how do you do it? Because I went from elementary to the disciplinary campus as a counselor. Number one, and I can tell you this, not that I do it in front of students, but I come in my school and I come in with prayer. And I walk through the school, through the hallways, and I am praying. Because God is my help. And when I'm talking to a student and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to help? All I think is, God, you give me the words. What do you want me to do? How can I help this student? And I'm going to tell you a little story about one of my students that when I was in elementary, it's interesting how when I see him coming to the summit, one of them was like, oh no, you're here. What are you doing here? After he was in high school. And I said, because I want to make sure that you don't end up here again. You know, because then they saw me, I was their counselor when they were little, hugging me in the hallways, and I'm over here. So it's tough to see them there, but at the same time, I'm connected more than anyone else because I know where you're coming from. I remember opening the door of the car, getting you in that car with your parent or your grandparent, because the parent wasn't around. So I was listening to her story, and in my mind, more connected, thinking, how am I going to help her? And I even said it out loud, what can I do? Miss Garcia, you're already doing it. You're listening to me. I don't have anyone that listens to what I have to say. So, number one ingredient, perseverance. And I commend you for being here on this Saturday, listening and learning. Perseverance. Number two, you need heart. You need to have that heart and go beyond the actions, deeper down, knowing that there's someone that needs that attention, that love, that patience, and being persistent. And honest. Honest goes beyond. They know when you mean what you say. They know if you're really through, if you're there for them. They know, they feel it. You don't even have to say anything. They just know by your presence and just by being there and listening and I'm listening and I'm also praying for them at that moment in my head, because I cannot do it out loud, because I work for the school. And I want to respect their faith. I have mine, they have theirs, but I respect it. We know we have our God. So let Ms. Reta continue with the presentation, and then if there's questions, we'll be here.
So hello, my name is Pilar Reta, and so it's kind of like a conclusion. I'm sorry, Mr. Hill. We're just going to say in conclusion, because pretty much he hit every point of what is transitioning in Pasadena. And I don't think just Pasadena, I think other, the outskirts of Pasadena, Houston, and every other little other community. But I think that I know that after my years of experience, I always see that there's no coincidence. There's always a purpose for everything that we do, and there's a purpose for where we're at. Even here with us, inviting Ms. Garcia, meeting, pastors, youth pastors, and I think that it's needed. I've been working at Pasadena High School. This is my 19th year, and since when I started, I've always said, oh, man, kind of like Ms. Garcia was saying, the prayer and asking God, what can I do? I see the need, but there's a lot of people, they're just there because they just want to check, they want in and out, and that's it. And it's needed, and so, but it's like, in my mind, it was like, not now. There's gonna be some time. And again, years after years, and again, knowing the need, seeing the families, the evolution of our students changing. Even this is before the pandemic, again, not now. And so I feel that now is coming, now it's approaching. Now it's the time, because we're coming together. And I think the experience that Ms. Garcia has had at the school, what I've had in the school, and our leadership in our district, it's also changing. And our leadership is seeing the need. But not only that, I think that the leadership is knowing that, is seeing the need of our families, what their struggles are. Even after, now that we've been facing the situations of the pandemic, now our families are also screaming out for help. They don't know how to parent anymore. Even our mature parents, they're just screaming for help. So when I see students, I don't just want to help the students, but I see the need of the families, because I see families coming in, and it's like the same family, the same situation with different faces, different family. It's the same mom with the same situation. It's like asking for help. And so as I mentioned to our previous principal, we have a new principal now, but a previous principal, I said, you know what? I feel that I don't just want to graduate students, I want to help them be ready for the outside world, because I'm going to see their kids one day, maybe not me myself, but they're going to come through Pasadena, our districts. They're going to be here again, and who are they prepared? Did we prepare them? Did we care enough to prepare them, to equip them, to help them be ready to produce a family, to raise a family, and to help them along the way? Or did we just graduate and increase that number of graduation without knowing what they were going to do outside of the community? Because, like for me, I was sitting my first year, 2004, working at Pasadena High School. It was my first year, no experience whatsoever. And so there was a young lady, she was pregnant, she already had a kid, and she was pregnant, and I had no kids at the time. So I was thinking, man, if I don't help this girl, who's to know that she's gonna be my, that child's gonna be my future son-in-law, or that daughter's gonna be my future daughter-in-law. So if I don't help this mom help raise her children, then I know that what I did, if my son or my daughter, happens to be, dating them, then I know that I've already did my part in trying to help this mom be a better parent. And so it was just always stuck in my mind. It was just interesting. And so I feel that, again, we don't just want to graduate our students because they stay in the community. You don't think they stay and they know each other. mean, they have ties. Sometimes even amongst when I talk to a student, it's like, really, you know what? Yeah, she's right. Yeah, you know, he's my uncle. I was like, oh man, what a small world, you know? And so, my heart is really working with the families. My heart is really working with the parents. Because, like, for example, my parents, you know, I mean, as many as your parents, they love you, but they don't know how to guide you, you know, how to walk with you. And sometimes our parents, you know, even our conversation with families is like, is the same typical question. How was it today? Bien? Okay, that's it, I'm good. I've already did check my part of the parent component, because I don't want to hear a more in-depth situation scenario, because I don't know what to do. And so we don't want to dig in as parents, because they don't know what to do, how to go about helping them, especially if they don't understand the mental health that they need, those resources. And so I think that, so working with the families, I have been working with a group of ladies, and it just so happened that it's Mr. Mario, mom that I've been helping. I didn't even know all these years. I just found out, really, that's your mom? And so we raise and we go about a curriculum called Raising Highly Capable Kids. And so we talk about parents, we talk to parents about how to parent and how to communicate with students, how to have that dialogue. Because sometimes what's missing is that while we're helping the student is still going back home where that scenario is still, that broken home, that broken family, and it's sometimes hard for the student to have growth, because they're going back again there and being just manipulated or being influenced, and it's so hard to make that change. And sometimes our parents, they want change, but they don't know how to have that change. And so when we walk with the parents through a process, alongside with our students, walking them through a process, and maybe this is where you come in. You know, while you walk with the students through a process, we're going to walk also with the parents through a process to create a better family household, a better family atmosphere, because that family has those younger siblings, that neighbor that listens to them, that comadre is going to listen also to them. It all is going to tie in, but we need to make the change, not only with our students, but also with the families, the moms, the parents. And so when I also see parents and dads, very few times do I see dads, but when I see dads coming, the father figure coming in, and it's just amazing, because it makes a big difference. And it makes a big difference when the dad is there, even though the dad is always working, but the little time that they give to their son, to their daughter, that's a lot. So I had a student that came from Honduras, and she ran away from home in the summer. And then she came back just barely last week. And I said, why you ran away from home? Because my dad doesn't have time for me. He doesn't even talk to me. I try to talk to him. And so it's, one of those things, she needs it. You would think that she's free from having a dad being there, but she wanted a dad to be there. So it's, our kids, they want that dialogue, they want that communication with their parents, but how to make that happen, how to make that connection, how to build that bridge. And so that bridge, we have to, it's not just, it's not common. A lot of times you would say, it's just the obvious, you should have to communicate with their child, but how does that look like? How does it look like having that dialogue? Help me help my child. And so I think part of that, all of that is trying to see a growth in the students and a growth of the parents. And also, when you see that, then others see it. It could be that one kid that's right there outside, looking at his friend, trying to, when that friend makes that change, that evolution, that one kid's gonna be curious. And that one kid's gonna wanna know what's different about this kid. Why that kid is making some progress. And that they want to also resemble whatever that kid's going through. They're going to want to hear it. They're going to want to taste it. And so you also build a bridge also with the other students. So it's needed. I think now that we have a new leader, principal, she also has the heart, the passion to help out. She's opening doors. And one of the things that's amazing is that when I introduced that proposal of having our Empowered program at our school, she was like, that's a great thing. And it so happened that our associate superintendent, Dr. Ms. Gallegos, she was like, I've been wanting to do that a long time ago. I've been wanting to do that a long time ago, but I don't know how to approach it, because again, the atmosphere of the board members, they have a different mind thinking. But it's okay because now it's the time, and so now the doors are being opened, and so we're in the process and the transition of making it happen. So I thank you all for your commitment, and I know it's gonna be worth it because, again, we're here for a purpose. You know, if it's not us, then it'll be someone else that is gonna do the job. Thank you all.
Can you guys give it up one more time for Ms. Retta and Ms. Garcia? As Betty gets ready to come up, we're gonna do an activity so you guys can fellowship with each other, but something that really impacted me about Ms. Retta is, and this is where I met Mario too, they had an activity at Pasadena High School, and so I went to go share the word, and we were there, Aaron and I went to go minister. And what impacted me was I shared worship, I shared a word, and then they were doing some testimonies and stuff, and I sat down, and Miss Retta came up to me and she's like, hey, there's some kids that just got here, they were skating, can you go talk to them? It's like, I'm down, where they at? So I went up to them, started talking to them. You know what's crazy, guys? They didn't get saved during the teaching, they got saved when I was just talking to them. And what impacted me, not so much just that, but was that she cared enough that just that one, that two, that three kids that came, that they mattered enough that she went out of her way to go get me to go talk to them. And what's crazy is a lot of times in schools, because I worked for a school district before, or different things, people want to see numbers. If you have big numbers, they're like, you're doing something. But what does the Bible say? The Bible says that even for one. So maybe in your youth ministry or you're starting up a program at the school or whatever, maybe it starts up with a few, but it matters. And their lives, eternity, everything shifted that day because she cared. And so I love her heart. I love Ms. Garcia's heart because they're in the trenches, right? And we're here to support them. And so I thank you again for sharing today, Jerome. Man, like, all respect for everything that you and your wife do, and so I'm so thankful for them. And as we get ready to do this activity, I just ask you guys to have fun and fellowship with each other.
So we can get 3 groups of 5.
5 or 6.
5 or 6, and I would suggest for you to go with somebody that you don't know. So a group that's very, very different. So. One, two, three, four, 5. Okay, so we have a group right here, group 1. Y'all can get some of the chapel youth leaders as well if y'all want them to join y'all. There's Adriana over there if y'all want her to join your group. So there's 3 people right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3.
If you have more than 5 or 6, it's cool.
Yeah, if you're 5, it's fine. 5 and 6, it doesn't matter.
Let's get into 3 groups, however.
1, 2, 3. We can actually make 4. Even easier. Yeah.
Okay.